I have found an analogy that I think is really useful to think about in this final conversation about mental health and flourishing. And that's the analogy of a brush fire. Now, a week ago, I was on a plane to Detroit to do a keynote speech, and I got reseated on the plane. So instead of sitting where I was, I moved across the aisle so that I could let a husband and wife sit together and stop passing things over me like sandwiches. And I sat down next to this aerial firefighter, Chris Panos. And so I fact-checked the analogy that I'm about to give you with somebody who actually works in the industry. And what fascinated me was he has a career that I didn't even know existed before that flight. He flies on a plane with drones, and he manages a team of drones that he can see the spark of a fire before they even become a flame. And he can guide, who he quickly tells me, the firefighters who do the real work. He can guide them down on the ground because of his drone technology up in the air. And so I checked with Chris, and I said, I'm going to use this analogy in this talk. And the way I see it is, when there is a brush fire, there are preconditions. There are things that happen that make it possible, and there is a spark. So the preconditions for a brush fire are high winds or hot temperature or dry grass. These are things that in and of themselves will not catch fire. But when they intersect with a spark, which could be a cigarette thrown out of a car, it could be a campfire that doesn't get put out correctly, or fireworks that get shot off. Or what Chris told me was that sometimes there are trucks that have chains that hang off of them, and the chains bouncing on the pavement cause a spark that could, with the preconditions, spark into a fire.